It's called the 5-word review. The movie I saw most recently was The Adjustment Bureau. Bureau. This is going to be a pretty standard review because for the most part, this movie isn't half bad. I'm going to start off with my two technical terms, two things that I think that stand out above everything else. I'd say first of all, the performances. Matt Damon and girl who acts off of him. Let's find out who that is. That is Emily Blunt. Matt Damon and Emily Blunt's performances are, I wouldn't say they're amazing, but they are very good. And the chemistry between the two of them romantically is very believable. It's very genuine, it's very sweet, and I did find myself smiling a lot of the time at just the two of them interacting, because it is a very believable relationship that they have and the way they interact. My other technical term for this is, I suppose, the writing. It's written quite well. I think it's very intriguing, especially for those of you who have seen it. I think the confrontation between one of the adjusters and Matt Damon about the history of the Adjustment Bureau, and when they were put into force and when they were put into use, and when they were taken out of use and then put back into use. So basically, this movie is about the Adjustment Bureau, which is essentially fate. They adjust the lives of, I don't know if it's every person, but definitely specific people and the people around them so that the world will be a better place. In this movie, the Adjustment Bureau is trying to keep Matt Damon's character where they want him to go, because he's going to be a future president of the United States as long as he stays on track. But that means that he has to give up his love life, because they know the future. They know his future and the woman's future that he falls in love with. And they know that if he gets with her, he will not become president, and her dreams of becoming an amazing dance choreographer will not come true. She'll end up teaching dance to 6th graders. And therein lies the biggest problem with this movie. Because just viewing it from the trailer, you get the idea that this is fate. They're controlling these people's lives, and they will do anything in their power to make sure these people stay on their tracks, even if it means killing them. But wait a second. If these people's lives are so important, where is the conflict? Where are the stakes? There's nothing that can be done to prevent these people from doing what they want to do. The Adjustment Bureau, in order for the world to go out the way they want it to, in order for it to go out to end up, well, they need this guy to become president. But that will not happen if he marries this woman. But then if they kill the woman, he'll become, depressed and probably give up his career in politics and also not want to become president. So they can't kill the main character because they need him to rule the country. And they can't kill his love interest because that will prevent him from ruling the country. So what's at stake? And that is the problem with the Adjustment Bureau. If the writers had somehow found a way to work around this and make it more believable that there are actually stakes involved, then this could be an excellent film. And it's not a bad movie at all, but it's just not great. When the conflict really gets going and the two, join up and they're trying to get rid of or outrun the Adjustment Bureau and get away from them and escape, there are no stakes whatsoever, because neither of them are going to be hurt, and the Adjustment Bureau can't really force them apart, as they explain in the movie. So where are the stakes? This doesn't really come into play until halfway through the film, when you realize that the Adjustment Bureau cannot physically do anything to these two people. All they can do is stop time, pull them aside, and say, "Hey, we need you to do this. Now do it, or else, we'll get really mad. Bye." And then they just leave, and they show up a few years later, and they're still together, and they're just like, "Oh, no, please stop, guys. We need you to be president. We need you to be a really nice dance choreographer." And then at the end, there's this really long chase scene, and not only is the chase scene really rushed, because the girl doesn't know about the Adjustment Bureau. She doesn't know that they exist until the very end, when Matt Damon is trying to escape the Adjustment Bureau, and escape with her. And then in the span of like 2 minutes, he tells them very vaguely what the Adjustment Bureau is, and then he says, "Come with me." And then, she just believes him and she does it, which is fine, but you could have given it some thought before you just dove into this weird conspiracy that could potentially get you killed. I mean, it's not like you just discovered that fate and death is controlled by an agency. Nothing big. But yeah, I'd say as far as my two technical terms go, acting and writing were good. The writing itself was great. It's just the story structure and the idea of the movie, the idea of the Adjustment Bureau in itself is flawed, and just the idea of the Adjustment Bureau as a whole, there can be no conflict, there can be no stakes, because the Adjustment Bureau needs these people to live. That's the same thing with all of the people in the world. They need all of these. They need specific people to live so they can go on and fulfill their dreams and change the world somehow in a really good way, and bring humanity closer to claiming peace. And if they need all these people to be alive, but the people, stray from the path, then what can they do? They need them to be alive. They need them to not be depressed, so they can't kill off their lovers. They can't prevent them from doing anything. And so all these chase scenes just feel really pointless the whole time. So I suppose my three terms for what's good and bad about the movie is, I suppose, my bad word would be the stakes, because there are none. But my good words would be, or I guess, excuse me, my bad word would be nothing at stake. And my two good words would be that it is intriguing and it's believable. There's a lot of charming dialogue between the two characters, and I really like them as a couple. And the idea of they gave fate a face. They gave fate an agency. They gave fate personification, and they did it really well. It's just that the idea as a whole cannot function as a film because there is no conflict in this movie. The writers like to trick you into thinking that there is, but there isn't. So I guess that's it. I would highly recommend this movie if you just got, if you want to go see a film, not sure what to do, go see this. It's definitely worth your time. The pros drastically outweigh the negatives, or the cons, whatever. So, as always, thank you guys so much for your time, and I hope you have a nice day. See ya.